Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation, your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at KBLA1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community focused. So just go to KBLA1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And he is in the studio, iconic broadcaster, multiple times, I don't know how many times, author. He is an award-winning journalist and the proprietor of this radio station, but also an activist, as Southern California Edison has come to learn. Tavis Smiley is joining me this morning, and we are going to find out what happened. We gave Southern California Edison 48 hours to apologize for gaslighting the world publicly after releasing our receipts, our emails, which are still up on our website if you want to look at KBLA1580.com. Now we get to find out what happened. Tavis Smiley, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you today?
I'm blessed. I'm wondering, how are you?
I'm doing the best I can. You know me. If I complained, that'd be an ingrate. I'm doing well, despite the circumstances. Let me make the most of the time that we have. We have indeed received a response from Southern California Edison that I'd like to share with you right now. Before I read the response they sent us, let me take you back a couple of days ago to the letter that came from Pedro Pizarro, the president and CEO of Edison International. This is dated Tuesday, November the 11th, rather. Listen to the language. Just listen to the language. We're going to walk through a few things here, so I want you to pay attention and listen to the language in the letter from Pedro Pizarro and the letter we received in the last 48 hours. This is Pedro Pizarro, November the 11th, Tuesday. Dear Mr. Smiley, thank you for reaching out, getting factual information to your listeners about SCE's Wild Recovery Compensation Program is very important to us. I am glad you took us up on our team's offer to join KBLA in a forum that is appropriate for all concerned. I'm copying Kathleen Dunleavy so you can coordinate directly on how a representative from Edison and KBLA can coordinate. Looking forward to next steps, Pedro. Kathleen Dunleavy, as you know, is the person, along with Scott Johnson, who started all this mess in the first place. He circles us back to Kathleen Dunleavy and Scott Johnson. That's Pedro Pizarro's letter on the 11th of November. On Tuesday of this week, the deadline, as Dominique said, was yesterday at the close of business, Wednesday. But on Tuesday, we get a response. The response says a number of things, but this is the salient point that I want to share with you. I'll post all this stuff later today on our site so you can read all this stuff for yourself. But in the interest of time, this is the salient part of this letter, which I think you'll appreciate in just a second here. This letter comes not from Pedro, but Beth Foley. Beth Foley is the vice president and CCO of Edison International and SCE. So she's the top spokesperson, director of comms, if you will, comms director.
But she's a higher level comms.
But she's a higher level comms than Kathleen Dunleavy, much higher. Kathleen Dunleavy is SCE. Beth Foley is Edison International. Edison International owns SCE. So this letter comes from Pedro's office on Tuesday, courtesy of Beth Foley. And I quote, Mr. Smiley, Edison has reviewed the emails and dialogue, and we don't see any statements we have made that are inconsistent with the facts. We are confident that Edison and KBLA want the same thing, to best serve our communities. We ask that we both put the past in the past and partner on getting information out on our communities. We ask that we join together and assist those impacted by the Eaton fire. Regards, Beth Foley. Let me read that one more again. Listen to the language in what Pedro said and what Beth said. Edison has reviewed the emails and dialogue, and we don't see any statements we have made that are inconsistent with the facts. We are confident that Edison and KBLA want the same thing. To best serve our communities, we ask that we both put the past in the past and partner on getting information out on how we can all assist those impacted by the Eaton fire. Beth Foley. That comes on Tuesday. I read this letter, and obviously, at first glance, it is as weak as pre-sweetened Kool-Aid. And I sent word back to Edison Tuesday evening through an emissary, one of my colleagues, that it was, in fact, as weak as pre-sweetened Kool-Aid, and this was a non-starter for us. This is not an apology whatsoever. So yesterday, that was Tuesday evening. Wednesday morning, there was a breakfast meeting. I dispatched this emissary to a breakfast meeting with SCE executives. So yesterday morning, when I'm on the air, when you're on the air, there's a breakfast meeting of our representative and SCE executives. They meet face-to-face in person over breakfast. I get an update, and that meeting's over about 90 minutes, 2 hours later, that they think they have found a path forward, and they'll circle back later in the day. All day long, starting with the time I'm on the air yesterday, I'm receiving emails and text messages all day long and phone calls from our representative who is back and forth with Edison. And Edison goes back and forth all day long, and they can't craft a sentence that says, "We apologize." They've got lawyers involved. They've got executives involved.
Wow.
They're meeting all day long. When I say all day long, this started yesterday at breakfast in a face-to-face meeting. At 10 o'clock last night, messing with my Sanford and Son reruns, I am still on the phone with another update from Edison, and they just can't seem to craft a simple sentence that says, "We apologize." To your point, we've laid out all the facts. We've put out all the receipts, but all day long, all these executives at this multinational company cannot figure out a way to craft a single, simple sentence that says, "We're sorry." So before I ask you what you think of this response, let me tell you what I think of this response. First of all, this is institutional gaslighting on steroids. Institutional gaslighting on steroids. This response is not written so much to manipulate our sanity as it is to manipulate the public narrative and absolve Edison of responsibility, even though they know that Kathleen Dunleavy and Scott Johnson lied, and they lied perennially. They lied perpetually. They lied repeatedly. We laid out all the facts, but they kept lying. Corporations behave this way for one core reason. Hear me. To minimize risk, legal, financial, and reputational at all cost. They will go nuclear to minimize risk to them. When a company is facing potential liability, public scrutiny, or community anger, their instinct, Dominique, is not transparency. It is protection of the institution, even if it means distorting all the facts.
Of course, yeah.
Withholding information or managing public perception in ways that are patently dishonest, as SCE did. What SCE wants here is a clean explanation that protects their brand. Note, if you will, they cannot and they will not. They will never say publicly, "We don't want to answer your questions." They will never say, "We're avoiding community anger." They will never say, "Our attorneys told us not to go." So they create what's called a neutral conflict. There were trial lawyers participating. That's the neutral conflict. There were trial lawyers participating when we all know that was never the case. That's the lie. So you see, it sounds procedural, not cowardly, but that's exactly what it is. It's cowardice. Corporate audiences understand this. It's hard to disprove unless you've kept receipts, which we did. Laid all those receipts out. So these corporations rely then on institutional gaslighting in an attempt and an effort to rewrite the narrative. In other words, when reality is inconvenient, hear me now, when reality is inconvenient, corporations like Edison try to manufacture a new reality. So they ignore the corrected information, they repeat a false narrative, they deny inconsistency, they push moving forward without accountability, which they tried to do in this response letter. That's why I said, take a listen to the language. They try to frame our reaction as an overreaction when in fact it's a demand for the truth to be told. Now, why, Tavis, do they do this? I'm glad you asked. They do it to confuse the public, to neutralize criticism, to shift responsibility, to exhaust the smaller party, the David to their Goliath, KBLA in this instance, and to make you feel like you are the problem. So you know what I realized a long time ago? This ain't personal, it's strategic, and it's all too common. So then, corporations like Edison choose one of three likely paths forward. In reality, Edison has tapped into all three of these paths in how they've chosen to respond or not to us. And when I come forward, I'm going to tell you what those three paths are.
Yeah, and I got a few questions, too. I know we'll get to those, and I'm sure you do as well at 800-920-1580. Tavis Smiley is here, and we've got a lot to talk about.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MAJOR25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MAJOR25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MAJOR25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
Hi, I'm Kylie.
I'm John.
And I'm Garrison.
And a little thing we love about the 30-count Chick-fil-A nuggets
is sharing it in the car during the holidays.
I do love that.
We will pack the car with gifts. And of course, we go and pick up our family's favorite nuggets.
Every nugget is tasty times quadrillion.
And we get all the sides.
Yeah, the ooey gooey mac and cheese is a big hit.
Everyone from 1 to 116 would love Chick-fil-A's chicken nuggets.
Share the nuggets, share the joy. Order the 30-count Chick-fil-A nuggets on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
So we are updating you now on the latest in the conflict with Southern California Edison, where KBLA is seeking to get real transparency for the victims of the Altadena Eaton Canyon fire. Tavis Smiley is here. You just heard him hopefully lay out his response to their letter and the meetings that followed. And now we get part two.
Yeah, I repeat again. This is the letter from Beth Foley. Edison has reviewed the emails and dialogue, and we don't see any statements that we have made that are inconsistent with the facts. We are confident that Edison and KBLA want the same thing. To best serve our communities, we ask that we both put the past in the past and partner on getting information out on how we can assist those impacted by the Eaton fire. So all day long, from breakfast until 10 o'clock last night, these executives are in meetings literally all day, and they can't craft a single simple sentence, I repeat, that expresses an apology for the facts that we've laid out.
And I think that's corporate incompetence.
There's no question about it.
And also continued gaslighting, because there are clear discrepancies. What do you mean that you can't find anything that's inconsistent with the facts? I can.
We laid the facts out. We played the audio. So I said a moment ago, there are three likely paths forward that corporations like Edison choose when they find themselves in a situation like this. I would call it the soft ignore strategy. The soft ignore strategy. SCE tries to make its egregious behavior disappear without correcting the record. So we get no apology, no acknowledgement of false statements, no public clarification, and then they try to quietly pivot, maintain their version of events to anyone who doesn't challenge them, and hope the news cycle moves on. That's the soft ignore strategy. Listen now, Edison has tapped into all three of these. The second strategy the corporations fall into or rely on is the we're open to working together in the future line. You heard that in the emails, right? We're open to working together in the future. This is classic, and I mean classic PR diffusal. They say stuff like, we value KBLA. You heard that. We want to collaborate in other ways. You heard that. Let's put the past behind us and refocus on serving the community together. You heard that in their email. This is classic PR diffusal. Now, all of this is designed to do what? Avoid taking responsibility, to appear reasonable, to keep the door cracked knowing they ain't ever trying to walk through it, and to neutralize criticism without fixing the problem. But it's not a real invitation. It is what I call a reputational shield. It's not a real invitation. It's a reputational shield. Here's the third option that they choose from in their toolkit of how to avoid responsibility. They try the we stand by our statement defense. You heard that in Beth Foley's letter. So that if pressed by the media or other officials, they just double down. Our decision was based on available information at the time, or some semblance thereof. We were concerned about the presence of attorneys, a lie. And this was a misunderstanding. It was not. This was not a misunderstanding. We laid out the facts. Kathleen Dunleavy and Scott Johnson were aware that there were no trial lawyers there. The day of our event, they're still spreading these lies on local television, but after our event, when they saw there were no trial lawyers, they are still spreading these lies, and the event is over and done with. You saw there were no trial lawyers. There is no, as you said, Dominique, there is no discrepancy here in the facts. They just don't want to acknowledge that they were wrong, and they can't respect or revel. Let me say it. I'm going to say it. They can't respect or revel in the humanity of black people. If these people at Southern California Edison cannot apologize for an error that they made with a local black talk station, how in the heck do you think they will ever respect and revel in the humanity, in the dignity, in the suffering of all those persons who they killed in Altadena? Why do you think this settlement fund is being criticized by everybody? It ain't fast and it's not fair. This is who you're dealing with at Edison. They have no respect for the sanctity and the dignity and the humanity of black people. They don't. Now, notice how they won't ever say KBLA misled us. They can't say that. So instead, they imply it without ever stating it. It's what you call plausible deniability. Now, for our part, we've laid out the facts. We have backed it up with documentation. And now the responsibility to publicly apologize still rests firmly with Southern California Edison. This ain't about us. This ain't about us. We invited SCE. They chose not to participate. We remain right here. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. For us, the truth is the last word. I don't much care what they have to say after today. The truth is the last word. We have done exactly what a trusted, community-serving media organization should do in a situation like this. And in truth, what very few outlets have the courage or the clarity to do when they're facing a corporate giant like Edison. But we have stood up. What SCE wanted from us, Dominique, was not a real partnership. They wanted cover.
Yep.
They didn't want a partnership. They wanted cover. But partnership requires mutual respect. So, no correction, no apology, no trust, no engagement. KBLA will continue to stand on truth even if $1 billion utility chooses not to. We choose integrity. We choose transparency. We choose community loyalty. But for now, because I ain't done with this yet, but for now, this is the new editorial I'm going to record today, and you'll start hearing it in the coming days on this station. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. We want to speak directly to our listeners in Altadena and across all of Southern California. Recently, we invited Southern California Edison to join a town hall so fire survivors could ask questions and get clear information about the Altadena Eaton fire and the settlement process. Weeks before the event, the law firm originally connected to the program withdrew, and we provided SCE with updated materials confirming those changes. But despite that, SCE later stated publicly and privately that they were pulling out because plaintiffs' attorneys were participating. That was not accurate. And when shown documentation that disproved their claim, SCE ignored it and declined to correct the record. At KBLA Talk 1580, trust is not optional. It is the foundation of our work and our witness. It is the promise that we make to you. So we will not move forward with any partnership that misrepresents the facts or undermines the credibility that we have built in love and service to our beloved community. Our commitment remains with the good people of Altadena. We will continue providing independent, verified information to support your recovery without interference from any outside entity, including Southern California Edison. And why are we doing this? So that you don't get burned twice. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your comments.
Wow. There's just so much to unbox there, Tavis. I thought they would do better, but I'm trying to figure out if a corporation is moving like this with a combination of arrogance, corporate incompetence, and bad faith about something at this level, what are they going to do when it comes to your money? Mm-hmm. What is going to be in that settlement? How can I, as a person who's lost everything, entrust my future to you if you're gaslighting and then gaslighting about the gaslighting?
I like that. Gaslighting and then gaslighting about the gaslighting.
That's exactly what they're doing. I mean, we reviewed the email and dialogues and we don't see any statements that are inconsistent with the facts. Well, then you need glasses because they're very clear. They're not subtle. They're not hard to understand. You said there were going to be trial lawyers. We told you there were no trial lawyers. And then we did the town hall without trial lawyers. And then you went on TV and said there were trial lawyers. Yeah. That's a problem. That is inconsistent with the facts. That is not rocket science.
I was thinking last night, Dominique, of how many times a week, and I put this test to all of our listeners. How many times in a week do you find yourself saying sincerely to a colleague, a loved one, a friend, man, I'm sorry. I apologize if you misunderstood that.
My bad.
My bad. That's the black lingo. We do it all the time. And there's no skin off your back for doing it, right off your nose. Here's the problem. Edison can't lean into, as I said earlier, they can't lean into the humanity, as Sly Stone would say, of everyday people. And if those persons are African American, they got a double problem with that. They just can't bring themselves to just very simply say, we apologize, and you move on.
Well, Molly Bell makes a good point. She says, Tavis, Smiley, sorry for what happened, but if they apologize, that would be admitting responsibility, which they were responsible for, and they would be admitting plausible liability.
Yeah, but there's no liability here. I mean, nobody's talking about suing Edison for $100 million. I mean, we're talking about your comms people who screwed up badly. As I said when I was on your program last time, we're saving space for grace.
Yeah,
that's
always.
That's the best of black people. That's the best of us. And I've said many times in my commentary over the years that black people have short memories. And sometimes that's to our good, and sometimes it's to our detriment. But we are the most forgiving people that God ever made. It's part of our DNA. Why do you see these stories that drive some of us crazy? When white people kill black people, the black families will apologize, and ain't nobody even ask for an apology. That's part of who we are. At our best, we are the most forgiving people on the planet. So we understand when you make a mistake, you simply apologize. But when you refuse to see our humanity, and you can't bring yourself to offer a basic, simple apology, that's a real problem. And regret and apology are not the same thing.
No, they're not. And also, Tavis, I think this idea that, it's not just about the facts as they're presented. It's also about the way they approach us.
That's right.
So disrespectful.
That's right.
I'm not going to go do a Jerry Springer type show. Repeatedly, that is racist to me.
That's right.
That is racist. It's demeaning. And so even if you don't see a discrepancy in the facts, which to me means you're either not reading or you're still gaslighting, you could at least say, we apologize for characterizing your quality and trusted news and talk organization as Jerry Springer-like.
There are at least 7 different things I wrote down last night that they could have apologized for, and they couldn't find their way to a single one of them. What does that say again about the persons who run SC? Don't tell me Pedro is a community guy. I ain't trying to hear that. Community guys don't.
I know he don't want to see you at the supermarket.
Nowhere. No, not inside and not in the parking lot. He does not want to see me.
He don't want to see you at the supermarket.
Yeah. Again, we saved space for grace. We gave them an opportunity to apologize. We did not call for the firing of Kathleen Dunleavy. In fact, she ought to be fired. When you use Jerry Springer language as if we're engaged in some black minstrelsy here.
Repeatedly.
She ought to be fired. Scott Johnson ought to be fired. But we did not demand that. We could have. We just said apologize. That's the best of who we are as black people. But somehow, I repeat, they have blinders on. They care not to see our humanity. One last thing real quick on Molly Bell. I appreciate the comment. And she said, I'm sorry. Nothing to be sorry about. I want y'all to be clear. We ain't sorry about nothing. We have stood in our truth. As I said, like a tree planted by the water, we ain't going to be moved. And we're not done with this yet. We have a huge anniversary coming up on January the 7th. Your show is already announced to broadcast live from Altadena on the 7th of January. So there's so much more commentary to come forth. And Edison is going to have to sit with this. They got to sit with this.
Or figure it out.
Yes.
Because there is, as you say, still space for grace, always. Tavis, Smiley, thank you so much for the update. We're going to keep talking about this. We're opening up the phone lines. Amnesty, if you've called already this week, but you want to talk about Edison, call me 800-920-1580. News, traffic, and sports, then more on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Outgoing New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell has lost her appeal, being blocked from contacting her former bodyguard as the pair's fraud and obstruction case plays out. She was questioned outside a federal court.
Are you married to Jeffrey Bappy?
Black Magistrate Judge Karen Wells Roby ruled that their illicit love affair is central to the charges they face. The House has rejected a resolution to censure Black Democrat Stacey Plaskett over a 2019 text from Jeffrey Epstein. Plaskett says the message shows no wrongdoing and that all Epstein donations went to women's groups. And Tory Lanez caused chaos during a deposition tied to Megan Thee Stallion's defamation case. He refused to answer questions, cursed at Meg's lawyers, and walked out, earning a $20,000 fine. His attorney was also fined $5,000 for failing to control him. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Luka Doncic continues to lead the NBA in scoring with 34.6 points per game. It'll be interesting to see how long Doncic remains at the top of the charts with LeBron back in the lineup. LeBron took only 7 shots in his season debut Tuesday night, but that number is certain to go up as LeBron's conditioning improves and he handles the ball more. One of the reasons the Lakers are 11-4 is their shooting. They lead the NBA in shooting percentage at 51.1%. The Clippers are back in action tonight at Orlando. The Clippers are 4-10, 1-8 in their last 9 games. Former NFL running back Marshall Faulk is a finalist for the head coaching job at HBCU Southern University. Faulk, a 7-time Pro Bowler, is the running backs coach at Colorado with Deion Sanders. Faulk grew up in New Orleans, only 45 minutes from the Southern campus in Baton Rouge. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Established in 2020 during a time of deep racial unrest across our state and country, the Black Freedom Fund was created to make sure that leaders and organizations working to support Black communities and build power have the resources they need to stay in the fight for the long haul. We believe that those closest to the issues impacting our communities know best how to solve them. That's why in just the last 5 years, we've granted more than $45 million to over 200 grassroots organizations across California. That is the largest collective investment in Black organizing in history, and we're just getting started. We are clear-eyed and committed, more now than ever, to our people, our power, and our possibility. Join us in creating a future where Black people harness their full power to shape their lives and realize a just world for all. Learn more at fundblackfreedom.org. That's fundblackfreedom.org. The Black Freedom Fund is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
We got caller amnesty if you want to talk about Southern California. Edison at 800-920-1580. I'm joined now on the phone by my colleague of the LA Progressive and the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, Saturdays at 8 here on KBLA. That's James Farr. Good morning, James. Mr. Farr, I'm going to go right to these phones and take our delegation, let them give their thoughts, and have you join in the response to that. Are you good with that, sir?
Absolutely. Following your lead.
Okay, going to Big Phil, calling us from L.A. Good morning, Big Phil.
Good morning. The devil go to sleep. Look at Dominique. I am very concerned about Tavis. I know he's like one of my clients, Robert Morrison. Tell him watch his blood pressure because, like Michael Jackson got a song, simply don't care nothing about us. We're going to fight with faith and we're going to win. I truly believe that. But tell Tavis watch his blood pressure. And I love you guys, and happy early Thanksgiving, and I'll talk next week, okay?
Okay, thank you, Big Phil. And yeah, we all worry about Tavis. He's got a lot on his plate, but he's also a warrior, so I know he knows how to fight and also take care of himself. I love that you're claiming that we're going to fight and we're going to win. James, your thoughts?
Hey, we perform under pressure. It is the history of our ancestors, is what we do. We ain't scared. But Big Phil, Edison has chosen violence with their corporate irresponsibility. What I said to you the other day, Dominique, this is demonic. It's just flat out evil. It's anti-black, and it's racist.
And how's your blood pressure?
They call me Pressure, Dominique. Pressure.
Pressure is your middle name. James Pressure Farr.
Makes diamonds.
Oh, now he's
built
a diamond.
for this.
I got you. Okay. Let's go to Eric calling us from the city of Carson. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Dominique. How you doing?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm good. There's really nothing that I can add to the discussion from what Tavis has broke down so eloquently, but I will say that I have been listening to KBLA since the inception, and the one thing that I've learned from Tavis and from you and from Areva Martin and all of the hosts, especially Jesse Jackson Jr. as well, is relationships is what it's all about. And and so not just knowledge. And I feel like what Tavis is, I'm just trying to use the right word here. What he is pushing for, I don't like that word, but what he is going for here is, there we go, advocating. He is advocating for a relationship between the black community and between Edison. And Jesse Jackson had a guest on his show. He's a reverend, and I wrote notes, and I've been scrambling to find his name. I can't find it. He interviewed him yesterday, but he broke it down step by step why this large corporation simply they're not going to comply because they can't. And so I just want to say that the bottom line is that I appreciate this show and Tavis for what he's trying to do.
Okay. Well, it ain't over till it's over, Eric. James, what do you want to say to Eric?
Yeah, Eric, good morning. You're referring to Jesse Jackson Jr. and Dr. Urie's show just yesterday where they broke down corporate responsibility, a C Corp structure. There is another level for this to go to, and folks are invited to tune in this Saturday to Conversation Live, Altadena Rising at 10 a.m. We're going to talk about some of those call to actions. I can't speak for Mr. Smiley, but I'm going to push back a little bit, Eric. It's not a relationship that we're interested in this community. We have a relationship. We pay a bill every month. The taxpayers pay bills every month. There is a relationship. What we want is fairness and justice. We don't want to be gaslit. We don't want to be lied on. And here's the thing, Eric. All of this could have been avoided if they had the integrity to just say, hey, we don't want to do it. We had no lever to force them to do anything. They committed in writing, and as Tavis has said, Dominique has said, then advanced lies in the public. It's not personal for me. I'm Pressure. I'm built for this. But best believe the internet is undefeated, and your digital footprint will follow you. Kathleen Dunleavy, this is your legacy also. And how people wake up every morning and promulgate these lies is beyond me. I hope they sleep well.
Honestly, James, that's one of the reasons why I say it's corporate incompetence. Find a way to craft it. I'm talking about in the response to the apology. It absolutely is. Find a way to craft it so you can give us our respect, show, the apology, and then ASAP schedule Mr. Pizarro or a top-level executive, maybe this, Beth Foley from Edison International, on Tavis Smiley Show. Do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Get it done. Be responsive. They're dragging this out. They're disrespecting us, and they're continuing to gaslight. Like I said, they're gaslighting, and then gaslighting about the gaslighting. That's the corporate incompetence part. What you're focused on is the corporate responsibility part, which is more important. But they're both part of this conversation and what's got us to where we are now. Eric, did you want to say something back since James pushed back on your point?
Yeah, can I ask one parting question for both you and James?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you think that the Edison representative, Mr. Pizarro, who had agreed to come to the town hall and he backed out, do you think and this is a serious question, of course, do you think he intended to come and something stopped him, or do you think it was never an intention to attend?
James, you're better prepared to answer that because you were the one in the negotiation with them.
Sure. As an evidence and fact-based journalist, my opinion, Brother Eric, does not matter. I am only looking at the facts and how they have constructed a narrative post-events, as Tavis alluded to kind of promulgate this other thing and preserve and protect their reputation. What I think doesn't matter. What they stated does. Whether they intended to or not, they did not need to play that proximity game and then bail out on the community. We're going to be fine.
I mean,
the community is who they disappointed.
I mean, and it could be any number of things, you know. There could be miscommunication. Pizarro might not have even been in the loop. He could have been in the loop. You know what I mean?
I know that not to be true, Dominique. I know that factually to not be
that
true.
That Pizarro was in the loop?
That Pizarro was aware of the facts that Jeffrey Pyle, the CEO of Edison, Southern California Edison, were all aware of it. I'm also aware of the checks that they're handing out and compromising community leaders. We'll get to that later on. Trust me.
No, let's get to it right now because we can run out of time.
I'm pulling receipts, Dominique.
I mean, that's key right there.
Yeah. I'm pulling receipts when 990s come out next year.
Oh, I see what you're saying. We'll get to it later when we have the
We'll get to it later, yeah.
Right, I got you. Eric, I always appreciate your call. Thank you so much for being part of this KBLA delegation.
Thank you, Dominique.
And the Queen is in the building. Queen of Compton, chairwoman of the chat room, Molly Bell, straight out of Compton. Good morning.
Good morning. God bless morning. Reparations in memory of our ancestors. And I wanted to say something. First of all, Tavis Smiley, I like his hair as white as it is. He's handsome.
I'll let him know you said so, Molly Bell.
Okay. And then I wanted to say, and I, was right typing in things in the comment section like I always do. But when we look at plausible liability, I'm looking at the Epstein papers. All those young girls have come up, told what happened to them. Not one of them have said, I'm sorry. Not one of them. We look at reparations. We look at slavery. They know what happened. I've never heard, I'm sorry for any of them. So when they say plausible liability, and they white folks, and yes, they white folks, they're doing the same thing that they have always done, just with a new terminology in it, plausible liability. Now, I know, all of you have been doing a real good job on all the shows. All the programs are talking about it. So I'm just saying, when they say plausible liability, tell me in the Epstein papers who have said to any of those young girls, and they've had those papers for years, I'm sorry. In the same way in slavery, they talk about reparation, but I've never seen a letter of, we're sorry. And the same thing with Edison. They know what they did, and they haven't said, I'm sorry. So plausible liability is what they're saying. I'm going to close by saying, all you prayer warriors out there, you know what you've got to do. You've got to keep fasting. You've got to keep praying because the struggle continues, but always To God be the glory. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you, Molly Bell. Take it away, James Farr.
Molly Bell, I'm not going to draw a straight line between pedophilia and corporate irresponsibility. However, there certainly is a moral arc somewhere in between these things when you can willfully wake up in full conscious and awareness and lie. So you let that land where it is, Molly Bell. We appreciate you. We love you. And thank you for being a faithful member of the delegation.
Yeah, I think she's also talking about when you're wrong and you know you're wrong and you don't apologize, not necessarily drawing that straight line between slavery and Southern California Edison or the Epstein files and Mr. Pizarro, but saying, look, you're wrong, you know you're wrong, you've seen the receipts and more receipts. Where's the response? Where's the apology? Where is the actual heartfelt, atonement? I guess I'd say.
Well, Dominic, capitalism has no morality. That's all. It's pretty simple. It is in the interest of the shareholders, and it's designed to make a profit. So it's textbook profit over people. We see that in many other spaces. James Farr is here. You're invited in. Even if you've called before this week, if you want to weigh in on Edison, I'm opening up the phone lines, 800-920-1580. Got a lot to talk about. We are holding the line. We don't black down. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
September is World Alzheimer's Month, a time to shine a light on a public health crisis that deeply impacts Black families. 1 in 5 Black adults ages 70 and older is living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD, and the risk is twice as high compared to white adults. But AD isn't just forgetting a name or losing track of time. Signs of early AD could be repeating questions, missing appointments, or struggling with bills and daily tasks. These things aren't a normal part of aging. Here's the good news. Treatments are available that may help if AD is diagnosed early. If you notice changes in memory or daily routines, whether in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatalsearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com to learn more about the signs and symptoms and a potential treatment option. This message is brought to you by AZI. It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds. learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
James Farr is my guest, and you're invited in at 800-920-1580. Just unpacking, unboxing, analyzing what happened with Southern California Edison, the response, and of course, Mr. Smiley's response to that, where we are right now. How did you feel? What was your main takeaway when you heard what SoCal Edison had landed on, even after you yourself, spent all these months in conversation with them, going back and forth, setting up the town hall, and then Tavis had another colleague step in all day yesterday, talking with them, and Tavis himself was personally involved in trying to find some kind of simple sentence, some kind of common ground.
How I felt and how I feel are not as important as how the community felt when they decided to pull out of that opportunity. I think of, even my mom didn't appreciate reading in context that her son is a liar. Right, in the press.
Right.
Martin Gordon didn't appreciate that they were gaslighting him, but I did feel a sense of disappointment. I felt like this reminded me of, my subject expertise is police use of force or state-sponsored violence, and it reminded me how they kill Black folks, police, right, and then go through all lengths to impugn the character of the deceased loved one. It's evil. It's a page from a Trump kind of mentality. Mr. Pizarro, how do you walk into Erewhon or any of these other grocery stores and feel good about yourself? It's really how they feel. That's the question I'd like to ask any one of them.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure you're going to get some feedback on, Altadena Rising, the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I'm sure you've been getting it. I'm assuming that we are probably not going to hear from Mr. Pizarro on Mr. Smiley's show, or any show, or a high-level SCE executive at this point, after Tavis's editorial today, but I could be wrong. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I can't predict what they are or not going to do. But if my expertise tells me that we won't hear from them, but I also think there's something simmering here in the community.
Well, that's the obvious follow-up, which is that what do you think? I mean, what are you hearing? Not what do you think, or what is the feedback? Do people still want that conversation, on Tavis, Smiley, or a smaller possible town hall, some kind of, we talked about like a focus group with activists there.
Sure.
Or are you getting the feedback that people are just over it?
Well, we think that they attempted to offer an olive branch fashioned on the other end as a spear. What I'm hearing is that people are really ready to take to the streets. Thanksgiving is coming up, and so when Mr. Pizarro is tucked away in his very comfortable, quaint neighborhood here in the community, how he'll enjoy Thanksgiving a week from now, watching parades and whatever else goes on, will be drastically different from a community member who's unhoused in their car bouncing Airbnb. So I'm not going to get too far ahead of that, of what I'm hearing, but just know that action is coming from community members. They are organizing, they are mobilizing, and they will not accept this treatment, nor will they be silent. So they had a choice. They chose their path. The community will activate and do what they feel. And, some neighborhoods are burnt out. Other neighborhoods may be disturbed, but the streets are coming.
And having been in this from day one with the the formation and the initial agreement, to be clear, commitment by Southern California Edison in writing to do this town hall. What did you take away from what Tavis had to say today? And it was passionate, and I think it was powerful.
Yeah, Tavis buttoned this whole thing up. He and I have been in constant communication over this. I believe we were under the same understanding of what should be a proper path forward. But it's clear that Edison has no interest in a true partnership. It's not one that we were pursuing in that way of a partnership. Our North Star was to bring this conversation into community. That's it. That's all. They turned it into something else and have no intention of being honorable. Shame on them.
Yeah. What do you have coming up this weekend, day after tomorrow, James?
Well, this weekend I have Mark Philpart of the Black Freedom Fund on. We're talking about people, power, and possibilities and how they are supporting work in the community. Then I got a few surprises and a surprise guest that is going to chime in and kind of give us some next steps of call to action and how it doesn't start and end at the level at Rosemead at Edison's Ivory Tower headquarters. There's other mechanism, so to speak, that the community can deploy to get the accountability. We all know eventually Pedro Pizarro will be relieved of his duties, albeit with a golden parachute. But community wants to give him something to think about. That's all.
Yeah, Barbara from Orange County suggested we all buy stock. She says it's only $24 for Southern California Edison stock, and you only need one to be in the meeting. I thought that was a creative idea.
58 for Edison International and about 2,000 shares would certainly advance something. So we'll talk about that. Barbara, make sure you're listening in Saturday at 10. We'll get into some of the things that we have in store. We're cooking right now for Saturday.
All right, James. Thank you so much for joining this morning, and thanks for all the great work you're doing on this.
Thank you, Dominique.
Tavis Smiley is up next, his actual show. He's got a great lineup for you as per usual. Don't forget Friedman Friday is tomorrow. We got a brand new guest, Dr. Heber Brown III out of Maryland will join me. So that'll be an excellent conversation. Hit me up on social media, Diprima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio on every single platform. Please like, follow, subscribe, and make a smart aleck comment. We are at KBLA 1580 on every platform. Hit us up there. We appreciate your support and your engagement. Like my mama, the late poet laureate of San Francisco, Diane Diprima, used to say, history is now. Like I always say, we're making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Outgoing New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell has lost her appeal, being blocked from contacting her former bodyguard as the pair's fraud and obstruction case plays out. She was questioned outside a federal court.
Are you married to Jeffrey Bappy?
Black Magistrate Judge Karen Wells Roby ruled that their illicit love affair is central to the